Good morning, Dawgpound South campers. This is the Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. I'm your host, Steve Gill. Well, a lot of news coming out of the owners' meetings. Let's start with the Haslams talking about the new stadium. I get the impression that they definitely want a dome stadium. Like I mentioned last time, they want a year-round facility. It is totally up to the city of Cleveland if they're going to participate in this venture. So, Lakefront, city of Cleveland wants to do about $1 billion in upgrades to the current stadium. I don't know if that's feasible. The Haslams want a domed stadium, either on the lakefront or somewhere downtown, or they'll go to Brook Park. So you have your choice. The city can make some money off of this facility or not make any money off this facility. SoFi Stadium, where the Los Angeles Chargers play is completely owned by the owner of the Los Angeles Chargers. He gets all the revenue. Now, I am of the belief that I don't know if the lakefront's feasible. Jimmy kind of alluded to another downtown area. I'm not familiar. It's been a while since I've been in downtown Cleveland. But if he can find it, I think the business owners would be happy. They can make their money and everyone would be okay. Brook Park comes into play if the city doesn't want to go along with it. Now, for people who think that, well, great, if Jimmy's going to pay for it all himself, the citizens of Cleveland won't have to pay a penny. Wrong. Dee Haslam mentioned getting in and out of the stadium is a hassle. There's going to be infrastructure involved. And the person building the stadium, Jimmy and Dee Haslam, will not pay for that infrastructure. The city, wherever it's located, will pay for that infrastructure. You're not looking at 2-lane or 4-lane highways. You're looking at 6-lane to 8-lane highways. So there is going to be some public money involved. There always is. Okay. They also mentioned they're very close on contract extensions for Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry. Yes, I love it. I think they both should be extended. Andrew Berry was talking a little bit, and I think the most important thing that he said, he started talking about Nick Chubb and his rehab. He said Nick Chubb would start running this month. I assume he means April, but if it's end of March, that's even better. After 2 major surgeries on one knee, just for him to do light running is fantastic news. Now, don't get your hopes up too much. He said they were going to take the next 3 months to evaluate. That would put them at, let's see, April, May, June. That would put them at the beginning of July before they head up to Greenbrier. So that's about on target. I still think he ends up on the PUP list at the beginning of the season, which is better than injured reserve. Injured reserve, you got to wait 6 weeks before you come off. PUP list is only 4 weeks. So if he goes on the PUP list at the beginning of the season, then that means he could be back by October. If he's on injured reserve, it's going to be November. I have full faith in Dante Freeman. I love the player. I have full faith in Jerome Ford, and I have full faith in Jaheim Hines. Other news last night for you uniform honks, and I'm slowly becoming one. I like the white uniforms. Love the white uniforms. Love the all color rush, all brown and orange. But white face masks. I go back in the off season and I watch games because sometimes we forget what happens, and sometimes we forget key moments, and sometimes we forget how well a certain player plays. And I went back and watched that the Pittsburgh game with the white face masks, and man, those things look sharp. So I'm all for a white face mask. I am on the white face mask. Let's take a quick little break here, and then we'll come back and talk some more owners meeting news. All right, the other big news, kickoff rule was changed. I wasn't sure what that was going to be, and I've gone back and watched a little bit of it. Now I know why they signed Naheem Hines. There's going to be some kickoff returns. Also, it explained and also re-signed James Proche, 2 returners. Also, it explains why the Steelers went out and signed one of my favorite running backs, Cordell Patterson. The guy can run inside and out. He can catch balls, and he can return kicks. I hate that move. The Steelers are slowly getting better. They're realizing their mistakes. Although I'm not completely sold on Fields and Wilson. They hold on to the ball too long. I wrote an article since 2021. Fields has the most sacks in the NFL with 135, and Russell Wilson is second with 133. The Browns last year had problems with quarterbacks who had a quick release. Neither of these guys have a quick release, although they've had problems with Russell Wilson in the past. And now they had to face him twice a year. So we'll see what Jim Schwartz dials up. Also, a little roster news. Third quarterback, emergency quarterbacks. Last year, you could only call up an emergency quarterback, I believe, from the practice squad 4 times. Now it's unlimited. So you can put your third string quarterback and keep him on there all season long as your emergency quarterback, your third stringer. If he's a veteran, a vested veteran, you're allowed 4 veterans on the practice squad, and no other teams can take him, steal him. They have to ask the quarterback or the player on the practice squad if they want to sign with them. PJ Walker got asked by a couple teams. Joe Flacco, as soon as he went on the practice squad and played in his first game against the Rams, a lot of teams were looking at him. Hey, you want to come sign to our active roster? And he turned it down because he liked the situation. Remember, 58 starting quarterbacks last year in the NFL, a new league record. So I could see why they changed this rule. The other teams looked at the Browns having success with 4 quarterbacks and thought, we might need to change this rules. Also, trade deadline was moved back. Andrew Berry had asked for it to be moved back to the Tuesday after week 10. It got moved back to the Tuesday after week 9 because that's what the Pittsburgh Steelers wanted. You can read into that all you want to. I have. Thanks, NFL. At least they moved it back. But if you're going to move it back to week 10. Oh, God, pathetic. Also, Brazil. Brazil. It's coming down to the Green Bay Packers and the Cleveland Browns. We'll know by, hopefully, before everybody leaves the owners' meetings. Personally, I would prefer the Browns play Philly at a neutral site than in Philly. It's going to be a Philadelphia home game. So I would prefer it would be the Browns. Plus, you get it out of the way early. You really don't know what either team is going to look like in week 1 at this point. But I would prefer to play the Philadelphia Eagles at a neutral site week 1, Friday night. Then they get a few extra days to get ready for the following game, week 2 game. So that's always good. They're the only game being played on that Friday night. I love them when they highlight the Browns. So I prefer that. So I prefer that the Browns go to Brazil. So that's it for today. I have to get back to a stack of tax returns. Don't forget, April 15th, 2 weeks from this coming Monday, this tax deadline. Talk to your tax professional. Get your taxes done. Don't wait till the last minute. Tax professionals hate that. So this has been the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. I'm glad you could join me today. I'm also happy that you watch, listen, follow. Like I say, we're Browns fans just like you. We love this team just like you. So everybody, have a great day and go Brown.